is 365 Sports, powered by Sikkim365.com. Welcome to the Triple Option. Here's your host, Paul Catalina.
Welcome in, Paul Catalina, Steven Simcox. We're both wearing black today.
We are, yeah.
We are. I have a glorious logo on mine. Steven's just playing neutral, which is, what you should maybe do in the media, but it's slipping away. So,
well, that's true. I mean, we are more fan heavy than ever.
Yeah, I'll tell you this: we have a deal with Homage right now, and as soon as we get their stuff, we'll all be wearing it on air. So
yeah, because Ted Lasso merch is totally being a fan.
He had Ted Lasso. I got like Cowboys and Reds. I got a Bo Jackson shirt, so that's
some of us try, Paul.
Yeah,
some of us try.
Yeah.
I mean, I work for a network now that promotes fandom. That's kind of their deal.
Yeah, Locked On Horned Frogs is like, you had
it's a new world. But just plain black polo. One bit in sports that I've become annoyed with, Paul, and I see it mainly in the NBA, but all right, we're gonna wear all black because it's a closeout game, in a playoff series.
Yeah.
And we're coming to the other team's funeral. Like the first time it was done, it was pretty cool. But I think we've kind of jumped the shark on that.
I think sometimes these trends, people we're going to do that. I'm always, coming from the comedy world, you can stylistically follow somebody, but you can't really, you got to do your own thing, right? You got to do your own thing. There's not there's only so much originality that you can come up with, and you should strive for all of that, which is why, this is why one of the reasons I don't like the wave. I feel things should be unique to stadiums. If the wave was only the stadium that came up with it, then that would be a reason to be like, oh, well, I'll do the wave. As we're now, if I'm at a stadium and the wave starts, I'm not standing up.
You're not going to participate?
No, I refuse to stand up and do a wave. First of all, most of the time, because I'm a pretty intense, watcher of the game. I bought the tickets to watch this game. Mm-hmm. I watched the game. I don't want to watch the wave.
No, I totally get that. And you're also someone who generally tends to resist groupthink, I feel like, Paul. You don't, whatever the kind of thing is that everyone's doing, you don't really want to do that. But yeah, I'm with you. Whether it's a baseball game or basketball games, I don't need I don't need music in between playing time. I don't need, it's cool that they do that. I understand people work hard to make the experience really cool, but I just want to watch the game itself. I'm not interested in all the other things going around.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, let's watch the game. I like being at a game and when there's downtime in the game, I love a baseball game, a good little game promotion. I love that stuff. Love it.
Let's sing a song together, whatever.
Love the kid running to get the base. Although I do have, I do think that we've, rewarded too many kids who fall down and don't reach the base in the allotted time. It
wasn't the participation trophies. It was that's
the baseball game participation trophy. We should give them the base, but the prize, I'm sorry. You can keep the base if that's a thing.
You got to stay upright to get the prize. That seems fair.
Yeah, you got to stay upright to get the prize. But if you fall down, Now, look, I think part of the whole thing is the comedy of it, but especially the younger the kid. And they're like, go! And then a little 5-year-old's like, trying to get down there. Run to that base.
Have you ever done an in-game promotion, been a contestant?
No. No, I have not. The only thing I've ever done was when I was 8 years old. We went to the Mesquite Rodeo, and they have that thing where you chase the calf and try to get the bandana off of it. That was the last time I ever did anything like that. So people may not believe this about me, but when it came to that, when I was a kid, I was pretty shy. I was like, I don't.
Well, I started to get anxiety about it because I would go to TCU basketball games as a student, and they were terrible. So it was I was one of the few people there.
Yeah.
So I did 4 or 5 promotion things because they were like, hey, can you do this? And I'd be like, no. And they're like, well, there's not really anybody else. Yeah. We kind of need you to step up and do this thing. So I shot free throws one time. I think I had to build a puzzle once. And there's not a lot of people in the stands, but it just feels like in the moment everybody's just locked in on you.
Yeah. FSU was terrible at basketball when I went there. really bad. I mean, really, I remember one time, like, Steve Wojciechowski himself could have beaten us, like, just alone.
Yeah.
Like, he could have, like, it just been him and one other player for him to pass to when our other 5 guys figured out, like, maybe he's playing well.
Maybe we should guard this guy.
Like, all 5 go to Steve, and he's like, no, here.
All right, here you go.
There, take it. Like, 5'10" guys. He's amazing.
Coach, he's got like 10 points on 5 of 7 shooting. Like, he's just killing it.
Have you seen this guy, Coach? Coach, why didn't we watch video of this? We totally did. Where were you guys? No, I remember, like, going to games, and they didn't do a lot. Like, they didn't do a ton of those things back then. Like, that was still the early days of it. But the other problem is that they were so bad. Most of the time, like, most of the students there were like 4 beers deep when they walked in the door. So they would be like,
yeah, I'll play your little game.
Like, all right, who wants to shoot 3-pointers? And everybody's like, me, I got it. First team all district. That's me. I got it. You guys remember my time in the Celtics? Back in the little Fort Myers Celtics? Yeah, I was there. I was good. You know, like that. They're like, how about you?
Is anyone here sober?
Foreign exchange student kid who's got dragged here by his friends, probably because he's driving. Come out and shoot a 3-pointer. Let's see what you got. But yeah, that was kind of a problem there, you know, and because again, student tickets were included in your, like, you never had to pay a dime for it.
Right.
You'd already paid for it. So all you had to do was show your ID and walk into a thing. The only thing that was hard to get into at all was football. You know, like football, you had to, you know, there was a whole process to it, but you know, even like, you know, there were some baseball games you had to like get there early, like when they played Miami or Florida or Georgia Tech back when Teixeira was there, you know, they were really good. So, but yeah, outside of that, it was pretty like, you know, you just like, you know, I've got a friend on the volleyball team. All right, I'll just go. You know, there was not like,
go hang out.
What time is it? Like, 10 minutes from now? Yeah, we're not doing anything.
We'll roll over there.
Yeah, sure. It gets me out of the house. So, I mean, yeah, but I never did. There have been a couple that I would have wanted to do. And I'll tell you this, had I ever gone to the, like, I don't know, you're probably too young to remember the Bozo show.
Yeah, a little too young.
So there used to be the show on WGN out of Chicago called the Bozo Show. Bozo was a clown. And for whatever reason, he does not live in my nightmares. But they had a thing on the Bozo Show called the Grand Prize Game.
Okay.
And there were 6 buckets. And all you had to do was throw a ping pong ball in the bucket. And they would always pick the worst kids to do this. Like bucket number 1, just drop it right in. Bucket number 2, you know, even if you're little, you can still get to bucket number 2. Bucket number 3, a little bit more of a challenge. Bucket 4 can be tough. Buckets 5 and 6, look, not everybody's going to get there. You should at least gotten 4 buckets. I would have at least gotten 5 buckets, and I guarantee you I'd have won a $100 bill and the trip to Disney World for my family in bucket 6. But nobody really ever got to bucket 6. And it used to drive me insane. Had I ever gotten to go to Chicago, to the Bozo Show as a child, they would have not been able to keep me off that grand prize game. Been like, it's going to be Jeremy from Naperville. No, it's not. It's going to be Paul from Bossier City. Let's go. Sit down, Jeremy.
Rack him up, bozo.
Yeah. Listen, I'm not afraid of you, clown. And you with the horn, you shut up. All right? You better, you know what? Roll a cartoon. I need to get loose. Let's see that.
I've been training for this.
Yeah.
How far was the 6th bucket away? Was it like... I'm guessing this is all indoors.
Yeah, it's all indoors. I would say 6 feet.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, at most, you know, for, you know, kid. I mean, like a lot of them would try to like underhand it, like, or they would just, you know, it'd be a kid who was too young to even realize it and like just take it and be like, rah! And they're like, yeah, well, Bozo Show's not even out a friggin' ice cream cake. So, you know, I don't know. Like that's... They don't really have shows like that anymore. Like there's no, I mean, that was nationally distributed because it was WGN, but it was like locally produced children's content that just got popular because they were nationally distributed on cable. But I was adamant about like, I really want a shot at this. Can we go to Chicago and for vacation? And Chicago's an awesome town. I love going to Chicago. I've been there 3 or 4 times. It's great. It's a great sports town. But like as a child, I'm not sure it's a place that like your parents would be like, all right, well, we're going to go to Chicago on vacation.
Up, right.
Your sister who's younger than you and,
go see the Sears Tower or something.
go like do that. Like maybe that's something you do when you're older. By the time I got older, 1, too old for the grand prize game. And 2, I'd want to do other things. 3, Bozo was canceled. Yeah.
Well, I just got back from somewhere that I discovered is one of the centers of the college football world. We were in Gulf Shores, Alabama this week, and I found out that is where the SEC goes to vacation.
Really?
Yeah. I saw a bunch of LSU people, a lot of Alabama, Georgia, Auburn.
Well, there's casinos there.
Yeah. And we were in a resort that was like, it was family friendly, but there were also a lot of golf courses. So like our house was next to what looked to be an LSU frat reunion situation. So we get out the first day and the pool's like by our room or by our little beach house. And so we walk down there and it's just like 25 middle-aged dudes just getting after it. And they weren't terrible. Like they clearly had a good time, but it wasn't like a full-on neighbor situation. But it was a weird dynamic.
Did you have to answer some questions to your kids?
There was a keg stand that we talked about. We talked about what that was. My kid, my youngest wakes up at 5:30, so I would like kind of get him out of the house on the balcony, and that was about the time those guys were kind of winding down and going to sleep. So that was sort of like a ships passing the night type of thing. But yeah, big time SEC country there in Gulf Shores, Alabama.
By the way, speaking of keg stand, 4,400 subscribers to go before I will do a keg stand right where we're standing.
That's awesome.
Right here. Once we get to 50,000, I'll be doing a keg stand. Yes. You should come in that day.
I will. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. It'll be probably in the 5 o'clock hour during the show. And,
that's a great
build
promotion.
up to it. Yes. So I will do a keg stand. And it has been a very long time since
you've done one of those?
Yes. So there's going to be some work I've got to do, I guess.
Some training.
Yeah. I start out with like maybe drinking a couple of White Claws, like,
build
ease up, like, because that's lighter. And then like I move into a light beer. I don't drink beer in mass anymore.
Right.
I have like 3 and I'm like, all right, I'm good. You're good. All right. Occasionally if I'm with my friends and that exceeds that, but that's over hours and hours of time. And then I get into however, I don't know how you train for such a thing. I know how I did in college, and I know that would kill me now. I would be absolutely.
We need like a Rocky style montage video of you getting ready for.
Well, that's part of the plan is doing something like that. I reached out to a couple of my friends from college, and they're going to do some things about my keg stand prowess.
Oh, nice!
In my early 20s, so I was, I wasn't like I wasn't the Jordan of keg stands, but
you're pretty good.
I was the Pippen.
You're a good running mate.
Yeah. Like there's always one guy who's going to be better, but like,
you weren't like Bert Kreischer, but you were kind of close.
Yeah. No, that's no, I'm sure he's probably still the Jordan of it. Well, he lives, but that's for sure. So, let's talk a little bit about some stuff. We're going to have, this is kind of a summer goof around show today. We're going to debut a segment in addition to the Wednesday Wheel of Whimsy, which comes up in the last segment, but it's called How Well Do You Know the Thing That You Love? So Steven's going to ask me FSU questions, and I'm going to ask him Dallas Mavericks questions because it ties in nicely with the start of the NBA Finals, which Steven, I'm sure, has been waiting with bated breath to start for a week now.
Yeah, long layoff here, almost like a Super Bowl layoff.
Yeah. It is. It absolutely is. When you have a total of 9 games in the conference finals, you're going to have a
little break.
Yeah, and almost like the Mavericks could have really, from a slightly better night of Luka and Kyrie in Game 4, probably won.
Yeah, it was on the table. A sweep was there. They didn't quite get it, but yeah, I'm excited about this because Paul, I feel like you're a good trivia person. Like I think you're most likely going to go 5 for 5.
Okay.
I don't know how I'll do. Like, I think I'll do okay, but I'm not always like.
I've got a couple that are a bit layup-y.
Okay.
You know, like they're like just to get you in.
Just to get you going.
But then I've got some that are like
tougher.
That are tougher, you know.
Okay.
We did something last week that we're going to do a lot more of, is see how many things you can name in 60 seconds on the main show.
Mm-hmm.
And we tried to name teams from a conference. I got 16 of the 18 Big Ten teams. Craig did the SEC, right? And he forgot Oklahoma, which is the team he likes. Yeah, and then Smokey did ACC, and Craig did ACC. Smokey did the SEC. Smokey forgot Oklahoma. So, yeah,
good job, Jack.
Yeah. Yeah, the one that we cover the most. He got it. Good deal.
Hey, I did that in 30 seconds when we had 60. So
yeah, he did.
I don't need your looking down on me for that.
Don't diminish his accomplishments.
Yeah, Paul.
Yeah.
I can take the show off air anytime I want.
Yes, that's true. That's true. Yeah, I need to be more respectful of Jack. So, some actual sports news, though. Elmarco Jackson from Kansas out for the season. And, look, Kansas loaded up their roster, but they were counting on him to be a key bench piece and was having great, success. Actually had a couple flashes last year where you could see where it is. But, again, he was a true freshman last year. So they're going to have to get, they were maybe out of the portal business, but now just based on what their plan is of world domination, they're going to have to probably jump back in and get somebody to fill Elmarco Jackson's spot for this year, because they already didn't get, Riley Kugel didn't make it in. They didn't get Jackson Robinson. He went to Kentucky, which is not really that much of a surprise considering he played for Mark Pope at BYU. And I think they were probably just about to let it go. But now with Elmarco Jackson getting hurt, I think they probably want to get another veteran bench player.
I'm sure they can do that, but Jackson's a big loss. Like, we talked last year about Kansas, and the issue is depth, right, with the scholarship problems and the adversity that they were dealing with, even though I kind of struggle to say that because it was self-inflicted adversity. But, you have to have more than just your starting five functioning. So a big loss, and it's always tough. I guess in some ways it's a good thing because it's happening so early in the year. I mean, not even the year, but in the offseason where you can go get somebody to totally fill that role. But Bill Self has now got to do work again to find someone to replace, a guy who they thought was going to be a key player in that rotation this upcoming year.
Yeah, that's going to be tough. But there is still so much depth in that transfer portal. Right. I mean, there's some really good players that now if Kansas starts going in, they're
going to be interested.
They're going to be interested. I think they were out of that business. All right. Another thing starts this week is the College World, not the College World Series, but the Super Regionals. Mm-hmm. And I'm very excited about FSU being at 8-1 odds, but 150-1 Evansville. The College World Series, based on its history, is maybe the only thing where, because Stony Point won and Coastal Carolina won, where in Evansville, I mean you're this is no joke. They could realistically do this.
And it's kind of a wide open field. I mean, we always see a team or two fall off that you expect to be a juggernaut. Arkansas, not a total surprise, I guess. Really good job by K-State going through that regional, but Dave Van Horn's squad, again, having issues in the postseason. I mean, Tennessee, Kentucky, these are good schools, but there's not just a gargantuan team that seems to be overwhelming the field. So, yeah, big-time opportunity for Evansville. I mean, we saw Oral Roberts make the College World Series last year, make a little bit of a run. Fresno State, years ago now, had a team that was under 500 going into the tournament, and they ended up getting hot. Ole Miss is not a Cinderella, but they had a team that was the last team in that got it done. So you're right, Paul. I mean, no sport, because it's baseball and because it's in small samples, kind of lends itself to parity quite like this tournament does. So that'll be a fun team to root for and watch this weekend as they get it going. And it's always cool when those smaller schools make big time runs like this.
Now, the bad news for Evansville is they've got to play Tennessee.
Sure.
So you got to beat Tennessee twice. Yeah. Which not many people have done this year. They've been number one all year. They're a juggernaut. They're not, to me, realistically going to get, when they get to Omaha, that's when it's going to get as tough as it's been. And they played in a great league. The ACC, fantastic baseball league as well. But, all right, let's pick our 8 teams through right now, and I'll throw out, so Tennessee and Evansville, I'm going to say Tennessee.
Yeah, I'll take Tennessee as well.
Okay, Oregon State and Kentucky.
Man, Oregon State's playing well. I'll take the Beavers. I think they pull off the upset there.
I'll take them. There's a lot of experience there program-wise. Okay, NC State and Georgia.
Man, it's another good matchup.
Yeah.
NC State's knocked off a lot of good teams in the ACC this year, but Georgia can really mash. I'm going to take the Dogs.
Yeah, I'll take Georgia. In the Tallahassee Regional, Florida State and UConn, and be careful what you say.
I'm not getting punched on YouTube. Taking the Florida State Seminoles.
Yeah. No, I was thrilled that they didn't have to play Oklahoma. I'll tell you that right now. And they kind of rolled through the regionals. Link Jarrett's doing an unbelievable job. Long overdue to hire that guy. No, it would be very sad if the year they won their first College World Series is the year that Mike Martin passed away. But, it would be a great way to honor the man.
Sure.
Virginia and K-State.
K-State was so good in that regional. And honestly, I think the Supers set up pretty well for them because they only got 2 arms, which you just need to win 2 games. And they got Tyson Neighbors, who's a great bullpen arm. I kind of talked him up, but I'm going to take Virginia ultimately. I just think they're a more complete baseball team.
I think this one, they could get it to the third game for sure. I think they could, but I'm going to go with Virginia. This one's very interesting. Florida, who's got a great history baseball-wise, barely really made it in to the tournament, but they won, beating Oklahoma State, Nebraska, out of that regional in Stillwater. They play a very, 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 very good Clemson team. I think Clemson will handle them, although they're hot right now. And look, their down year may be more just like inexperience as opposed to a lack of talent. So if the guys are getting good now, because they're going to turn around and be loaded in baseball again a year from now. But, Wyatt Langford's gone, and that's probably, you don't just make up for that.
No, you don't. I'll take Clemson as well. But Florida's a talented team, so I wouldn't be surprised if that one goes 3 games.
Yep. UNC and West Virginia, another Big 12 team that made it through, but unfortunately has to play one of the better teams who had to fight off LSU.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
It's kind of a sentimental pick. I'll go with the boys from Morgantown. I think Randy Mazey, that team's playing with a lot of motivation right now to send him out right. I think the Mountaineers make the College World Series.
And finally, Bryan College Station Super. A&M welcomes in the Ducks from Oregon who upset UC Santa Barbara, San Diego. Like, they were the 3rd seed in their regional as well.
I know they tailed off towards the end of the regular season, but I still think A&M's the best team in college baseball when they're on. I'm taking the Aggies.
Yeah. This has been an Omaha or bust team all year long. I mean, they hit, they pitch, they do everything. But yeah, I think I'll take the Aggies as well. Yeah. And again, also getting to play, it's huge for them to be at home for those 2 rounds because there's only like maybe 5 places in all of college baseball that have a night in, night out home field advantage. Florida, box at LSU, Bluebell Park, Dick Howser Stadium at Florida State, Tennessee's they're nuts. Arkansas is one of those but there's 50 college football stadiums that you're like, if I could not play there, I would never play there. Baseball is just a little bit different, but there are.
And A&M's kind of created their own fan culture there for baseball specifically. It's cool how they've done that. I really think this is the year Jim Schlossnagle probably wins his first title. I'm trying to be happy for him, Paul, but I'm failing.
It's hard. It's hard, it's kind of like watching your ex-wife marry a billionaire, and you're she always did want a jet, so
finally found that oil money. Good for him.
Glad, good for you. It's you were here and then you're there, and I get life moves on, but not over it, never will be. Let's I know how you look. Here's the thing. I love Mookie Betts. I love him unconditionally.
Yeah.
And he's having another great season.
He's playing for the wrong team, though.
Yeah. And he's playing shortstop as a position that's been a revolving door for the Red Sox. And, he was there.
Right.
He could have just given him
could
the
just
money.
signed him, yeah. Just paid him. Boston, pretty big market, pretty big deal, pretty big brand.
Yeah. You would have signed it. Just hurts. Just hurts. And not that I would want him to do poorly, because he's like kind of an all around good dude. But like if he was just like almost as good as he was in Boston, but not quite, I'd be like, well, getting older, but he seems to get better all the time, and it stings. It stings. It's like when you're putting Bactine on a cut, like all the time, like just
constant.
Just it's not going to heal, and I'm just pouring Bactine on it, and it stings. When we come back, we play a brand new game we're going to do with a lot of people, but Steven is the best one to debut this with. How well do you know the thing you love? And we're going to see how well we know the thing we love. We're going to alternate questions. Jack's going to keep score.
Okay.
So you have 5 questions. I have 5 questions. We're going to alternate back and forth, and then we're going to play the Wednesday wheel of whimsy. That's all coming up next. This is the Triple Option on 365 Sports.
If your business is like most, you need things done quickly. But if you're still tying your critical applications together on multiple shared public networks, you've probably been feeling the slowdown. And that's no good for business. A private UPN fiber network can get you and your business moving at the speed of light. Whatever you need, we can build it. Internet, Metro Ethernet, Waves, dark fiber. We deliver custom private networks and are focused on business customers only. Our next generation 100% fiber optic infrastructure offers you low latency and ultra scalable bandwidth with speeds up to 100 gigabit to run your critical applications. Your connection won't be limiting your performance anymore. It's diverse and scalable, so it can grow and change as your business grows and changes. And with a secure carrier-grade private network, you'll have all the reliability you need. Contact UPN today to learn more. Fast just got faster.
This is 365 Sports, powered by Sikkim365.com. Welcome to the Triple Option. Here's your host, Paul Catalina.
Welcome back. Steven Simcox alongside, as he is most every Wednesday, unless he's on vacation, which he was in Gulf Shores, Alabama.
Yeah.
What brought on Gulf Shores?
So my wife's a nurse, and she works at the hospital in Temple, Texas. She used to have a friend, one of her best friends there, moved to Florida because they were there because her husband was stationed in Fort Hood. So they're from Florida originally. They moved back, and we just wanted to visit them. And it seemed like, hey, this is a good kind of. It wasn't really halfway, but it's sort of, you know.
But it's not all the way in one direction.
Yes.
So yeah,
it was a good little medium place.
Yeah. Did you drive the whole way?
We drove.
You drove the whole,
yeah, we drove to my in-laws' house first, which took about 4 hours off the trip. But we were in the car for about 10 hours both ways. And honestly, my kids did better than I thought. But yeah, that's a long time on the road.
Well, like they have iPads and stuff
Yes.
now. It's like I didn't have that. Well, we didn't have that when we were kids. Like I had to read a book.
I know.
Like an actual. Then I read a lot on the road. Listen to music and, leave me alone. I'm good back here. Yes, I want a Gatorade. God, do we have to stop 7 times? Can we just get there? No, I was a good little traveler. All right, here we go. How well do you know the thing that you love? I need to play this with Jack and the Packers one day, too.
I didn't realize Jack was a Packers fan.
Oh, it's ridiculous. It's insane. He's a shareholder, right?
Yep. I'm a shareholder, and I'm trying to go to the shareholders meeting this year. It just so happens to, I believe, be on the date that my lease ends, and I'm going to need to move to a new place in Waco. So we'll see how I work that out.
Okay. So, yes. All right. So we'll start. I'll ask you a Mavericks question.
Okay.
You have Florida State questions for me.
Here we go.
What year were the Mavericks founded?
Oh, man. I figured this would come up, and I don't have a great answer. 1981?
Oh, just missed it. 1980. Also
1980.
the year that Paul Catalina was founded.
Nice.
Yes.
1980. Yeah, the Mavs, like, their history is pretty rough.
Yeah.
Had some good teams in the late 80s that made the Western Conference Finals, played the Lakers, lost, and then obviously had that team in 2011 that won it all. But not a lot of people were interested in the Mavericks for a long time.
Yeah.
Because it's always Cowboys. Like Dallas is always Cowboys country.
Yeah.
But, especially in the 80s, it was a little different. Okay, our first FSU question.
Okay.
How many Heisman winners have there been in Florida State's history?
3. Charlie Ward, Chris Weinke, and Jameis Winston.
Nailed it.
Yes, there we go.
Who's your favorite of those 3?
Charlie Ward. Charlie Ward.
That makes sense.
I was there when Weinke won, but,
yeah.
Charlie Ward,
Yeah, Charlie Ward seems cooler than Chris Weinke.
Yeah, and, there's no, but with Charlie Ward.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, Jameis won. He seems like a great guy, but, there's the thing.
Yeah, but
Yeah, but.
crab legs.
Yeah, well, not even the crab
I
leg.
know, I'm joking.
Not the,
His PR turnaround has been pretty remarkable.
yes. Yeah.
He's turned into
I don't know. He ate that W so weird.
oh, he's for sure a weird dude. I just mean he's become kind of a likable.
I think
figure?
he's always been likable, but there was
guess
always
that's
the
true.
and there's enough distance from what
Happened.
or didn't,
Allegedly
whatever it was. It's such a muddled situation.
Yes.
And so,
When they apparently he engineered that last touchdown for the Saints this year.
Yeah.
He's trying to get his teammate a bonus.
Yeah.
Everybody was just like, man, Jameis is the best teammate ever. Which, that's been said about him pretty much across the board.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of crazy how he's turned that around.
I can't wait for him to come back to FSU and be the hype train. Because that's what he's going to, I think that's,
That's what he does.
He'll have, but that's, he's such a huge, it means a lot to him, that's his place. And so.
Does he still have contact with the university? Do they?
Yeah.
Okay.
They better. They defended him, to the very end of the earth, backed him up on that. Very publicly, too. To the point of, you've got a chance here. If this goes the other way, you guys are going to be super embarrassed. Mm-hmm. So, which is what, leads me to believe that the situation's less bad than we think.
Right.
But again, I'm not going to jump to any 100% conclusions. I have my personal beliefs about what went down. Everybody else does.
We don't need to get into it, but
don't need, just how it is. But yeah, that's the thing. But yeah, I think he'll come. I'll love it when he comes back, and he'll be at every game. I'm sure that he can be when he's not a professional football player anymore. He'll have that Vince Young role, but maybe have more command of it than Vince does, at Texas. So. For sure he will. Plus, people just know him so well.
Yeah.
All right. Luka Doncic has 77 triple-doubles in his career. Who is second, and how many do they have?
Jason Kidd?
Yes.
15?
21. So I'll give you credit for that one. The 21 was a bonus, but he has 77 in his fifth year in the league. Yeah. Fifth year in the league, and Jason Kidd had 21. Yeah, it's weird to me that Dirk wasn't higher on the list.
He was he's one of those guys career numbers wise with the Mavs. He's up there with assist, but he wasn't a huge assist per game guy, and he accumulated a lot of blocks, but that was never his thing either. But the other thing is, Paul, triple doubles are just so. I don't want to say easy now, but they're hard to get, but they're just so much more prevalent now than they used to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, Jason Kidd. That's another interesting thing about his legacy, because if he wins as a coach there, I think he'll be more associated with Dallas. But J. Kidd kind of bounced around a little bit. In his prime, he was with the Nets, but he did win a title in Dallas, and he was a huge part of that team.
Yeah.
It's because. So, recently I saw this, and I was like, what the heck? The Brooklyn Nets are retiring Vince Carter's jersey.
Yeah, he was not really there all that long.
I know, and I was just like, Vince is a good player.
Yeah.
But I associate him with the Raptors, and then he made a lot of different stops.
Yeah.
Because late in his career, he was just hired gun type guy that could shoot threes. But, it's always interesting who people associate players with, what team they associate them with.
Yeah.
But Nets would not have been on my list for Vince Carter.
No.
They're going to retire his jersey.
The Nets are not on my list for almost anybody.
Really, that's true.
And
it might just be because who else are you going to retire?
Yeah, you got to have something up there. All right.
Okay. Paul, career all-time leading rusher for the Florida State Seminoles.
Travis Minor?
Dalvin Cook.
Dalvin. Oh,
Yeah.
my son. I knew it was between Travis Minor and Dalvin Cook.
Yeah, Travis Minor was second. So you were there.
Yeah. Ugh, I knew it. Golly, I got the second. Okay.
But did you?
Travis Minor was in school when I was in school. And here's the thing. He was like the most boring all-time leading rusher ever. He wasn't like a breakaway dude. He was just efficient. So like 19-year-old me was like, God, would you just He also was like 2 years after Warwick Dunn, who's like the most electric dude ever. And like Travis Minor's just like, oh, I'll get 4 yards of carry. That's fine. I'll get a first down if you run the ball 3 times. And then we were all like, psh, go 80. There's only 11 guys in your way. Quit being a wimp about it.
Score a touchdown, Travis.
Don't run the clock. Yeah, so, all right.
Yeah, Travis Minor, really good career. 3,218 yards, but Dalvin Cook had 4,464.
Who is the Mavs' all-time leader in field goal percentage?
Is it not Dirk?
It is not Dirk.
Derek Harper?
No. It is Tyson Chandler.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
I mean,
A
when
lot of dunks.
you're 2 feet away from the basket all the time.
Yep.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, Derek Lively might challenge that.
Yeah. Oh, I think I think so. I think so. Especially when I don't think I've seen Derek Lively shoot from more than 5 feet away.
No, I mean he's a dunker. That's what he does.
Yeah. He had like a little up and under against Minnesota, and I thought, he's got 2 clubs in the bag.
Who is this? Hakeem Olajuwon?
Yeah. Just like one, like he switched hands and went like up and under and got fouled, and I thought, oh, there you go.
So I have one about the university itself.
Okay.
You feel okay with that?
Yes, I do.
Okay. What year was FSU founded?
Oh, it was 79.
Man,
Florida State Teachers College was like 1939 or 29.
1851.
1851. Oh, golly. Yeah, I knew that. I should have known that. I've got shirts with that on that. It just says like 1851.
1851?
Yeah, because it was a women's school for a very long time. It was Florida State Teachers College.
Okay.
And then, which is why we still have our fantastic 3-to-1 ratio, even today.
Which is a great selling point for
Everyone.
Yeah.
For women, great selling point. For men, even better selling
Yeah,
point. For male athletes, the best selling point. I'm just going to tell you. You walk around, and it could be 10 minutes before you see another guy. Like, it's that way. It's nice.
All right.
It's nice.
Got to lock you in here for these last 2.
Okay. All right. Ooh. Who is the Mavs' all-time leader in steal percentage?
Steal percentage?
Yes. This one's really hard. Really hard.
Steal percentage. Devin Harris?
Fat Lever.
Oh man. Yeah, I wouldn't have got that one.
I almost didn't put it in there. I almost didn't put it in
What
there.
was his steal percentage?
It was like
Does it say?
3.7%.
Okay.
But yeah, I like normally like steal percentage, like overall steals is what you'd really want.
Mm-hmm.
But I saw that and saw that Fat Lever was the guy, and I was like, well, that's an all-time name right there. So Steven either knows this because it's Fat Lever or he doesn't know it at all. And,
Fat Lever. Okay, I love that.
yeah.
All right, Paul. Receiving touchdown leader over career for Florida State. Most receiving touchdowns over career.
It's not Fred Biletnikoff, even though the award's named after him. It's not Peter Warwick. Is it Peter Warwick? It's Peter Warwick.
Peter Warwick.
It's Peter Warwick. Yeah, it's Peter Warwick.
Peter Warwick had 31. Number 2 was E.J. Green with 29.
Yeah, EJ was good. He was a real good player. Yeah. So I almost said Rashad Green, but I think
Rashad Green leads like
receptions
4 receiving categories.
Yeah, he was Janis's go-to guy. Like he was
Yeah.
if he like Kelvin Benjamin scored the touchdown in that won the game, but Rashad Green got the first downs all the way down the field in that last drive.
Yeah.
Including like a 3rd and long that was a just a beautiful catch that I might start crying about once the show's over.
Yeah, Rashad leads in yards, receptions, pretty much everything except touchdowns.
All right, last one for you.
Okay.
Name as many Dallas Mavericks owners as you can.
Okay, Mark Cuban.
Uh-huh.
And then there was the guy with the cowboy hat whose name I can't remember. That's about it. That's all I got.
Okay. Don Carter was the first
Don
owner.
Carter,
That's the one you're
That's
thinking
cowboy
about.
Hat guy. Okay.
That's the cowboy hat guy. Bought the team as a gift to his wife who played basketball at Duncanville. So that's the thing you could do in the late 70s, early 80s.
Hey, honey, I got a birthday gift for you.
It's an NBA team that we really had to convince the NBA to give us. They did not want a team in Dallas. No. They did not. Ross Perot Jr. bought it from Don Carter.
Okay.
So not, Larry, can I finish? Can I finish, Larry? Can I finish? Not that Ross Perot. His son.
Okay.
Yeah. Bought it with that guy's money. And then it was Mark Cuban. And now currently it's Mark Cuban at 27% and the Adelsons and the Dumonts with the rest. Well, I guess there's somebody else who owns like 8% of it or something like that, but they own the majority shareholders.
Mark Cuban has one thing he's done to his credit. He's finally allowed basketball people to make these decisions.
Yeah.
Like he's sort of ceded control.
Yeah. He's still technically like the president of basketball operations, but you never see him anymore.
No, you don't.
Yeah. He's not there,
He's not doing press conferences like he used to all the time.
No. Now, should they win this thing, you'll see a lot of Mark Cuban. You'll see a lot of them.
All right, Paul. Who returned the punt Ruski against Clemson back in 1998?
Oh, my God. 1988. The punt Ruski.
Or excuse me. Yeah, 1988. Yeah.
Was it Sammy Smith?
It was Leroy Butler.
Leroy Butler. I friggin' knew it. I was about to say Leroy Butler. NFL Hall of Famer now, Leroy Butler.
Yeah.
Leroy
Butler.
Leroy Butler.
How many famous things has he returned?
Leroy Butler?
Yeah.
Well, you should love him to death.
That's what I'm saying. Like, how many famous returns has he been a part of?
Yeah. He's the man. He's my favorite all-time Green Bay Packer.
Because I'm not wrong. He was the guy who first did the Lambeau Leap, right?
Yep.
Okay, good. I want to make sure I wasn't going crazy.
Leroy Butler.
So here's
what a play call by Bobby Bowden. That was fun to watch today. I've never seen that.
Here's the thing about the punt Ruski. From that point on, every week on his call-in show, for the next 20 years until he was no longer the coach, there would be at least one caller that would be like, "Hey, coach, are we going to run the punt Ruski this week?" And he'd be like, "Oh, well, dadgummit, if we were, I couldn't tell you." And, of course, they never did. Like,
The one-time thing.
One-time thing.
Once you put it on film, can't pull it off.
Leroy Butler was still playing in the NFL when I was in school, but he was back for like a bye week to do that. And that was the theory that they were going to run it in his honor. And they were playing like Clemson or somebody. It's like, no, you're not going to run it against Clemson again. You're not going to do that.
They know the formula.
No, you're absolutely not. But yeah, Leroy Butler. I knew it was Leroy Butler.
That was fun. Paul won.
Yeah.
Sterling scored 2-1.
Can I throw a question for each of y'all into the mix?
Sure.
They might be a little easier. They might be a little harder. I don't know.
All right, go ahead.
Who do I need to ask first?
Steven first.
Okay, Steven. Name all the arenas that the Mavs have called their home arena.
American Airlines, Reunion Arena. Are there more?
No, they're not.
Okay.
Nice.
There we go.
Easy point, I guess, for him.
I kept thinking there's probably one for 80 to 84 that doesn't exist anymore.
Like the Arlington Slick or something.
Yeah,
I was wondering if he was going to try.
It's now
one.
just a big crate and barrel.
Now, Paul.
Okay.
I don't know if it's too mean to ask you to name these, so I'm just going to ask for the number of conference affiliations that Florida State has had in its history.
Conference affiliations?
Football specifically.
Well, they were a major independent forever. So early on, I honestly couldn't tell you, other than the ACC, that's the only one that I know of.
So your answer is one?
One.
Well, it's actually three.
Oh, really?
The Southern Intercollegiate Athletic Association, which is also very closely tied to the history of the SEC, and the Dixie Conference for 3 years, 48 through 50.
Okay, the Dixie Conference.
Yeah.
I'm sure that was a conference full of tolerance.
Paul, where does Lee Corso stand in like FSU lore? Is he
Oh,
like
it's
a
pretty
big deal?
Look, here's the deal. Lee Corso and Burt Reynolds played on the same team.
Okay.
All right. So he's up there for us.
Okay.
He's up there. As a matter of fact, I do believe that they should build a statue of Lee Corso.
Okay.
Like I really, for his it would be, John Madden went to Cal Poly, right? And Cal Poly should build a gigantic statue, like the Sam Houston statue that we have in Huntsville. That should be their statue of John Madden because that's where he went. I think Lee Corso, for what he's contributed to college football overall as a personality and the fact that he's, always repped his alma mater in that, I think it would be cool outside the Doak to have a statue of Lee Corso with the headdress on. So I think that'd be cool. I don't know if it would ever happen. If I had the money, I would make it happen. Be like, yes, this is for the Lee Corso statue that's going here, and a quarterback. But here, this money's for the quarterback. This money's for the Lee Corso statue. But yes,
maybe a 5-star edge rusher.
Here's the deal. I would also have a statue of Burt Reynolds. An absolute
Shrine.
a shrine, a museum even to Burt Reynolds there. So the youth of today have no idea how cool he was.
He was the coolest.
Yes, exactly. So no, Lee Corso is a pretty big deal. Lee and Burt are up there. Robert Urich, who was one of the stars of Lonesome Dove and Spencer for Hire, also a big deal. So again, don't give me $1 billion because I'll waste a lot of it on statues of famous people to go in Tallahassee. Just around the stadium of just like, here's Robert Urich playing football. Here's Burt Reynolds, number 22. Anyway, when we come back, the Wednesday Wheel of Whimsy, which we're going to have to do really fast. This is 365 Sports.
If your business is like most, you need things done quickly. But if you're still tying your critical applications together on multiple shared public networks, you've probably been feeling the slowdown. And that's no good for business. A private UPN fiber network can get you and your business moving at the speed of light. Whatever you need, we can build it. Internet, Metro Ethernet, Waves, dark fiber. We deliver custom private networks and are focused on business customers only. Our next generation 100% fiber optic infrastructure offers you low latency and ultra scalable bandwidth with speeds up to 100 gigabit to run your critical applications. Your connection won't be limiting your performance anymore. It's diverse and scalable, so it can grow and change as your business grows and changes. And with a secure carrier-grade private network, you'll have all the reliability you need. Contact UPN today to learn more. Fast just got faster.
This is 365 Sports, powered by Sikkim365.com. Welcome to the Triple Option. Here's your host, Paul Catalina.
Welcome back. A little trash talking to me going on in the chat room. Wet Blanket, who he and I have an adversarial relationship, but it's all respect. He said FSU is a clown school because we have a circus, but we do have a circus. Watch the Supers this week. You'll see the circus. It's right over right field. A trivia question you could have asked me about FSU baseball is who's the only player ever to hit the circus? It would be J.D. Drew.
Oh, J.D. Drew.
J.D. Drew hit the circus.
It's a good random baseball player name.
Yeah. My college roommate, one of them, is such a huge fan of J.D. Drew that he figured out a way to name his kid J.D. and his wife not know it.
You just told her he thought that was a cool name, or
his initials are JD.
JD, gotcha.
And so it wasn't like we're just going to call him JD.
Right.
He was really crafty about it. So I've always told Amanda that if we have a son, his name will be Burt Reynolds. Catalina, and she said that's dumb. And I said no. She said if we
draw a line in the sand.
the next dog we get will be named Burt Reynolds. I'll tell you that.
That's a good name for a dog.
Yes, and that's what I will call him, Burt Reynolds. It's not gonna be Burt. It's gonna be, come here, Burt Reynolds. Come on. People are like, oh, what's his name? Burt Reynolds.
Burt? No. Nope.
Burt Reynolds.
Burt Reynolds.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Wednesday Wheel of Wednesday. Heisman hopefuls here.
Yeah.
Steven has put these on. I've not seen them.
We're doing buy or sell.
Who we got, Jack? Ollie Gordon. I'll buy it. I'll buy it. He's going to have a lot of yards, so he'll be right up there. And he was in contention this year, so I'll buy it. He's going to be the majority of that offense. I mean, Alan Bowman's not going to take stats away from Ollie Gordon. I mean, that's not how that's going to work. So, yeah, I absolutely buy that he'll be one.
Yeah, he'll be a workhorse. I could see it. Oklahoma State's going to have to win a lot of games, but they could do that. I mean,
yeah, they could very well do that. I'm selling on Alan Bowman, as many people know, but I do.
You believe in Ollie Gordon?
I do believe in Ollie Gordon.
Okay.
Carson Beck.
Carson Beck. Oh, yeah, you got to buy that one. I mean, he's the quarterback for one of the top 2 teams in the country. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I'll certainly buy Carson Beck. I think he'll put up some numbers, and he'll win enough to where I would be shocked if he's not at least in New York, if Georgia is really as good as we think they're going to be.
I mean, it seems like things would have to go wrong. It does. These Heisman odds are basically just, all right, best teams in the country, who are the quarterbacks.
Yeah.
But Carson Beck makes a ton of sense. And he is the odds-on favorite right now, at least according to Vegas.
Yeah, I mean, like, he's kind of boring as star quarterbacks go in a good way. Like, there's,
He just does his job.
Yeah, he's not Bryce Young. He's not,
Not really a dual-threat guy.
Yeah, but, like, I could certainly see him there.
Jalen Daniels.
Jalen Daniels, I'm going to have to sell on this one. Even though I think if he plays all 12 games, he probably will be one. I can't wrap my head around him getting all the way through with that lingering back issue that he's got.
Yeah, I'm selling too. One, because of the health also. I do think offensive coordinator change is going to make a difference there. But he's electric when he plays. It's just about availability.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
Quinn Ewers.
I'll buy it. Texas is going to be really good. They're going to be really, really good. I don't want to, like you can hear it. I don't want to. I don't want to, and that's probably just some silly bias that I have. But, yeah, I mean, if he continues to improve, I mean, look, his improvement from 2 years ago to last year was pretty profound, in my opinion. And if he continues on that track, then, yeah, I think he certainly can be there. I think he's got the best arm of any quarterback in the country.
Yeah, I'll buy it too. I think Quinn has done a really good job. I mean, with the hype around him, the hype around that program, he's stayed really consistent about, okay, I'm just going to come in here and work, do my thing. And a lot of the sort of typical, he's going to mature and get better. Like, it's true with Quinn. He has figured out a way to be a really good player for that team and sort of gotten over those initial, freshman struggles. Or he wasn't a freshman when he started, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay.
Riley Leonard.
I'm going to sell. I really like Riley Leonard. I just don't know if he'll have the numbers, the way that offense is going to be. Like, he's going to be a guy people talk about all year, but he's going to be like Ben Roethlisberger. Like, that's who I'd like to compare him to, because he's going to be tough. He's going to be gritty. But some of his best games, he may have, 181 yards passing, and he might rush for a couple touchdowns. But unless he puts up like Tebow rushing touchdown numbers, which he's not going to do because he's not completely that kind of a guy, field general, NFL type talent, that he has to play. But I just don't think he'll have the numbers, because he's going to go up against guys that are going to have 4,000 yards passing or something like that.
I also just feel like I understand what a big brand Notre Dame is, but it seems like lately they've just been quietly good. I mean, we know they're good. They have a few big games a year, but I don't know. It just doesn't seem like they, in the new world of realignment and how big, these conferences are. It doesn't feel like they transcend in the national landscape as much as they used to.
No,
Maybe I'm misvaluing that.
If they're 12-0, I mean, then
they're going to be here.
But like, I don't think anybody thinks that they're going to be 12-0.
Right.
I think they're very likely a playoff team. I mean, because I think they're very likely to be 10-2.
Sure.
And that puts Notre Dame right in the playoff. In fact, probably hosting a first round game. So yeah, I see. I'll sell on that, but I'm not. Again, he would have to be very specific conditions for him to be there.
Sure.
Even though I think he's a great player. All right, here we go.
Dylan Gabriel.
Sell. I mean, he'll put up numbers.
Yeah.
He'll be one of those guys who's in the conversation, but he'll be 5th or 6th. He'll get some Heisman votes, but I'm going to sell realistic contender. He's a fun player, for sure, and Oregon's loaded, so it's going to help his numbers. I'm gonna sell on Dylan Gabriel.
I'm going to buy. I think he'll put up big numbers. I feel like maybe being in the Big Ten will get some better TV slots, which could help them, and Oregon should be in the mix. But, it's a tough conference, but I'll buy on Dylan Gabriel being at least in the conversation for New York.
Yeah. All right, we have time for 2 more.
Cam Ward, I think.
I'll buy Cam Ward.
Okay.
Because, again, it's Miami. Like, if Miami's good, it's going to be on the back of Cam Ward. And if he's resurgent at a program that's been dormant for 20 years, then I think I'll buy. Because also, this is not just about wins, it's about numbers. And he's going to put up big numbers. If they're good, he's putting up big numbers. He's going to rush for touchdowns. He's going to throw for touchdowns. The Miami offense should be the only excuse they have is the coaches have to get out of their way. Like, they have to get out of their own way. So I'll buy on Cam Ward, because if that clicks how Miami hopes it does, then he's part of a resurgent program.
Yeah, I'll sell. I'm just not totally sold that Miami's going to be a great team. I think they'll be good. I think they'll put up big-time numbers, but I don't know if they'll make that jump to where they'll be in the conversation.
He's going to need to win games against teams that Miami hasn't beaten in a while.
Yeah.
Or, or doesn't beat regularly. The better teams on their schedule, they're going to have to win games against. So I'll tell you exactly how I feel about it after that Florida game, which Florida's not going to have a good year. They're going to have a rough year. Their schedule's really tough. They're not there yet. But they're still probably going to be a tougher out,
sure.
And I think they do play them there in Gainesville. So if he goes through and say he puts a hurting on Florida, then I'll be like, okay,
Cam's here.
because that's middle of the road SEC athletes there that he's
torching.
So
Right.
All right, one more.
Will Howard.
I'll sell. I think there's other players on his team that would go.
Yeah, I was shocked he was on this list. I really like Will Howard. I think he's very serviceable. But this just feels like you check the box for Ohio State quarterback. I don't think he's going to.
He's an upgrade over Kyle McCord.
Yeah.
But the story of that's going to be Emeka Ibuka, Travion Henderson, Quinshon Judkins, true freshman Jeremiah Smith, who's probably going to be on a Heisman list himself sooner rather than later. So, yeah, I like him. I think he's been gritty. But look, I'll even say that the guy who replaced him is going to put up probably bigger individual numbers than he is. So, because he's more than a bus driver. Let's not put it like Kyle McCord was the bus driver. That's what he was. And I don't think that that's a bad thing, especially if you win. Will Howard's an upgrade over that. I just don't think he's going to have the numbers that some of these other guys are going to have, even though and the reason he has them is going to be more highlighted on those guys like Smith and Ibuka and the running backs that they have.
Of the guys we didn't get to, one guy quickly, Travis Hunter, buy or sell?
Buy. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because he can, absolutely.
Do it all.
Yeah, he can do it all. That's like Heisman voter Coke right there. He's returning punts and he's a wide receiver and he's a cornerback and he never comes off the field. Yeah. He's got to be there. Now, he will probably be hurt by the fact that team is 7-5 at best. So, at least in my opinion. They could be better, but I think they're a 6-6, 7-5 team this year. I think they're improved slightly, but
still the same issue.
I think they have to balance the hype versus the results. I think that's the challenge because Dion is the hype machine, but you also have to have the results. He knows this. I know that people maybe don't give him credit for that. He knows this. Mm-hmm. And if you've noticed, like, some of his rhetoric has toned down a little bit. As a matter of fact, he's like, when he did like get out over his skis on Twitter, he like quickly walked it back, as opposed to last year he would not have walked anything back, so, like the who's your son play for thing, like he kind of walked that back pretty quickly, as opposed to last year he would have been like, no, because he knew that all he had was like the
charisma.
This is like, it's a magic show. Like, didn't really saw the girl in half. I just made it look like I did. That's all he had. Today on the big show, on the long show, we have 4 guests. We've got Brian Murphy from WRAL TV in North Carolina, who's going to talk about a very interesting law that's in front of the legislature there that will require North Carolina and NC State to play schools like App State, in-state, Charlotte, state schools every year, at least once a year, in basketball and football, rotating through. We also have Jordan of the Sickos Committee, one of the best follows on Twitter. Nice. Jordan from the Sickos Committee is going to join us. We also have Tyler Webb, who does a lot of sports business stuff on Twitter. He does threads that are really, really informative and really good. He's really got Twitter figured out too. This is the most productive way to use this evil thing. He's got it figured out. And then we've got Evan Miyakawa, who's going to talk basketball transfers in the wake of the NBA draft deadline that, a lot of guys have pulled out and come back in. And St. John's is actually at the top of his list with the 4 transfers that they've added. So Rick Pitino making moves in NYC. Baylor's obviously up there, but there's a long list of that. And we'll go through that with Evan at 4:30, plus a bunch of other topics that probably Jack and Garrett and I will talk about. We're awaiting Garrett's arrival today. We have no definite ETA on him, so hope he gets here quickly. But that's going to do it for us. I will see you in 58 minutes. Bye.